Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Linda Susan Ulrich. My pronouns are they, them, and I serve this congregation as minister. So welcome to all of you. Welcome to our lovely special guests, the Haven String Quartet. And right now, before we get into the main part of worship, we have been starting our services with something called Living Our Values Every Day, Loved, where we have just a brief chance to hear about some of the things going on in the world of social justice at USNH. And so today I'd like to introduce Lurleen DeVos, who's going to be talking about the kids service team.
Thank you and good morning. So this is a complicated time of the year. It's a time of abundance and want, a time of joy and sorrow, a time of rest and struggle, and it's a time for dreaming of miracles. This morning I'm here to share with you a UU miracle that you created with the kids service team of the food bank last year. And I want to invite you to help create one again this year. A year ago, in the midst of the pandemic, when the annual KST Thanksgiving pie making was canceled, KST partnered with the food bank to begin what we're hoping will become a new tradition, reverse Advent calendars. Rather than receiving a gift, a gift or a treat on each day leading up to Christmas, folks put a can or a box of food aside for a family in need, and they indicated on their calendar. Margaret Aori, coordinator of the food bank, designed an adorable reverse Advent calendar featuring a fir tree with numbered spots for ornaments. In late November, we gave out the calendars, a numbered list of foods needed by families that corresponded to the spots on the calendar, and enough ornament stickers to fill the spots by the solstice. On December 19th, boxes of food were delivered, and gold stars were given out to top the trees on the calendars. The response was amazing. We filled car after car with food for the Keith Center Food Bank. It was wonderful. We created a miracle in the midst of a very, very challenging winter. But more than a year after the pandemic sort of began, families continue to struggle to find enough to eat. People are hungry every month. Connecticut Food Share surveyed more than 1,000 Connecticut residents to measure their food access over the course of the summer. The overall rate of food insecurity had increased across the state. Families with children and people of color were hardest hit. Since the pandemic, food insecurity among households with children jumped to 44%. Almost half of all families with children. In comparison, 24% of households without a child under the age of 18 are experiencing food insecurity. The Connecticut Food Share survey also showed greater food insecurity amongst communities of color. 43% of people of color in this state were food insecure compared to 26% of white families. Now, months after this survey, food prices are soaring, and families need our help more than ever. Again this year, Margaret has created a wonderful, reverse Advent calendar. Families are filling boxes, our families are filling boxes with food and the calendars with ornament stickers as they look forward to the holiday season. The boxes will be returned next Sunday, 12/19/21, after the service, and gold stars will be given out to top the trees. You are invited to help create this year's miracle. Don't have a reverse Advent calendar? It's not too late to get one. You'll just need to triple your efforts to fill it quickly. Contact me after today's service by email at kst@usnh.org, and we'll be arranged for you to pick one up. With or without a calendar, please bring food or grocery store cards next Sunday after the service to the monthly drive-through. Let's do even better than we did last year. Kids and families need us to create this miracle. Thank you.
Well, what a great start that was. Good morning and welcome. My name is David Jones. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I'm a member of the worship committee, and I'll be your worship associate this morning. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are in your life's journey, you are welcome here. Welcome to this live and live streaming service of the Unitarian Society of New Haven. We're a diverse, multi-generational faith community that inspires lives of compassion and generosity, nurtures spiritual growth, cultivates transformative connections, and creates a more just world. This is a congregation that believes Black Lives Matter, that every person has the right to affirm their own gender identity and expression, and that all people are inherently worthy. We acknowledge that our sanctuary sits on the land traditionally that of the Quinnipiac and other native people. As a congregation, we seek to heal the wounds of the past and present and ongoing work of reconciliation. If you're joining us for the first time, we're so glad that you chose to spend this time with us. The email address of the membership team is membership@usnh.org, and you can visit usnh.org to find out more about us. If you're thinking about becoming a member of this congregation or would like to learn more about what that means, join the New to UU class to be led by our very own Reverend Linda Susan and lay leaders on Saturday, January 8th from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Zoom. You will learn more about USNH, the commitment of membership, and you will have fun. Email membership@usnh.org for more information or to sign up. In other announcements, if you want to send a card to the family of Jane Mayfield, please contact Jamie in the office. Also a reminder to stay after the service today for a hybrid, again live at Zoom, congregational meeting at 11:45 today. Unfortunately, we will not have time to do coffee and hot drinks before we start the meeting, so there will be no coffee after service today. If you are here in person, please silence your devices and make sure that you wear your face mask over your mouth and your nose so that we can protect the most vulnerable among us. Now it is our great pleasure to welcome the Haven String Quartet back to USNH. We have enjoyed their beautiful music for years, and we have another opportunity today. So settle in, take a relaxing breath, and let us worship together.
Winter is full of music if you listen carefully. The rhythmic knock and bang as the radiator warms. The ching, ching, ching of a tiny bell on a cold cat's collar. The utter silence of falling snowflakes. Bare trees clothe themselves in diamonds that crack in the wind. Footfalls crunch ice and squeak compacted snow. Raspy breaths echoes inside bundled up ears. This symphony leaves out the bird's aria and bee's bumbling thrum, and embraces the sweet dark tones of a cozy night, turning pages beside a crackling fire. It is good to be together this morning. When we light our chalice, we invoke that kind of warmth, the warmth found in community among those who wish you well. Let us light our chalice this morning.
Covenant. Covenant lies at the center of how Unitarian Universalists gather in community. We are united not by a particular set of beliefs, but by the promises we make about how we will be together, how we will treat each other, and how we will seek to mend relationships when we fall short of our aspirations. Each week, we recite together a brief version of our covenant. I encourage you to read the full covenant on our website. While the following words express our intentions in writing, our true covenant lives and breathes in our actions. Please join me now in reciting the words that appear in your order of service or in the chat on the live stream. We covenant together to create and nurture a culture of respect and kindness, and to engage in the spiritual and everyday practice of loving more generously. To this end, we will strive to be open, value differences, listen deeply, use kind language, speak our truths, work with conflict, seek humor and joy. I invite you now to join me in holding in our hearts the joy and sorrow of those around you, closing your eyes and going inward if you are comfortable doing so. Today, some woke with a sorrow so great they asked for the help of this community to carry it. Others woke with a joy so great it must be shared. A joy that I have to share is for the wonderful celebration of life for June Schaefer yesterday. She was a leader, a groundbreaker, and a model for all of us in her family life, at USNH, in the New Haven community, and in the world. She brought joy to us all. The sorrow we share is for those suffering from the tornadoes which ravaged the Southeast and Midwest yesterday. For the joys and sorrows that have not been spoken, but which remain in the silent sanctuaries of our heart, we bear witness.
I invite you into a time of meditation, prayer, or contemplation of ultimate things. The meditation today comes from Samuel A. Trumbore. In this time of long nights and short days, let us seek the light within by contemplating through our mind's eye the image of a candle flame. Notice how the soft, quiet, and gentle flame tamely rises from the wick. Yet, just by touching a dry twig, it has the power to become a raging bonfire to light up the night. Let that little candle flame be your friend this morning. Allow it to quiet your mind as you attentively watch its flickering glow. Allow it to calm your mind in a way that brings a stillness that can light up the interior of your being, that can help you find the wellspring of your feelings. Allow it to show us our inner sense of knowing that can help us notice the ways we've strayed or harmed others, to warm us, reflecting on the ways we've been touched and the ways we've opened our hearts, and inspire us through making new connections and discovering new insights. May this simple flame touch the dry twigs that guard our hearts, allowing the power of light to penetrate our self-protection and show us the amazing potential for heat and light that resides within us. Let us join together in a time of silence. Amen.
For our stewardship testimonial this morning, we welcome to the pulpit the ever-musical Jackie Trimble Shapiro.
Good morning. Thanks, David. My name is Jackie Trimble Shapiro, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. I've been a member since before my two 30-something sons were born. We joined as newlyweds, hoping to develop community after moving here with no other family nearby. Our children were born 2 and 3.5 years later, and were welcomed into the religious education program we knew would encourage their own faith development, as well as educate them about Jewish and Christian teaching stories and other religions. We weren't disappointed. In the 35 years I've been a member, I've been repeatedly surprised by how my best self is encouraged to expand and grow here. There have been joyful opportunities to share music and theater productions I would not have had otherwise. As a member of various committees, I've stuck around during some challenging experiences and learned through difficult conversations. This has allowed me to grow into leadership. During USNH's process of becoming a welcoming congregation for LGBTQ+ folks, I've been lovingly supported during what was once a steep learning curve about sexuality and gender. More recently, through book discussions and conversations, I've had the chance to grow about trans experiences and to show support of all gender expressions by adding pronouns to my name tag. In the last few years, with book discussions, as a member of the Anti-Racism Task Force and the 8th Principal Working Group, I've become better able to see the white skin privilege I've been afforded and to begin to explore how that privilege expresses itself here at USNH. I plan to stick around, likely for the rest of my days, and look forward to being surprised by how I and we grow as we strive to become even more of a beloved community. For all this and more, I'm proud to have been supporting USNH financially over the years and glad to continue doing so in the future. Thank you.
Every week, we lift up the spiritual value of generosity by taking an offering for the ministries of this congregation. Our community continues, and the need for ongoing support continues as well. While the music plays, I urge you to consider navigating to the usnh.org website and making a donation. Donations can also be sent by U.S. mail to the Unitarian Society of New Haven, 700 Hartford Turnpike, Hamden, Connecticut, 06517. The offering will now be gratefully received. Today's reading is A Winter Rose by Susan L. from allpoetry.com. Through winter frost and deep December gloom, it struggles through to brighten dismal days. The winter rose is not a feeble bloom, but bears the scars of Mother Nature's ways. A yellow bud that in the spring is lost amongst the multitude of showy heads shines brighter, though its petals tell the cost of shedding light on winter's withered beds. How many bundled folk will pass this way, so buried deep within their muddled lives? They never see the beauty on display. A single rose, its head held high, survives. Go dance amid the easy summer crowd, or stand alone, a rose in winter, proud.
I have to follow that. That was gorgeous. Thank you, choir and quartet. So the music today was, as you can tell, built around the theme of roses, particularly those that bloom in winter. It's an image that suggests fragile beauty welcomed in the midst of stark cold. Unless, of course, you're in Hawaii, where flowers bloom all year long. It's important to remember that all metaphors are rooted in particular cultures and contexts. Here in New England, though, we can go with the rose with frost on its petals, the burst of yellow or pink or red in contrast to the white of the snow, gray-brown leafless trees, and the tall forms of evergreens. But I don't want to focus on the flower's fragility as much as its perseverance. It takes some hardiness to bloom in winter. It takes gumption to say, frozen ground, no problem. Snow cover, I'm all over it. Arctic winds, come and try me, air. Of course, as the season goes on, the rose loses resilience. It begins to dry out and curl up around the edges. It sags under the weight of snow. And soon enough, those winds are scattering petals that have seen better days. And then the blooms are gone. When the world finally had a vaccine for COVID-19, we started to find those moments of connection again. Welcome flashes of color amidst the drab sameness of lockdown and quarantine. As more and more of us got vaccinated and things started to open up again, we gained confidence in our hardiness. Look at what we had just survived. Of course, not all of us did survive. Again, all metaphors have context. Speaking broadly, though, we'd turned a corner, and many of us felt hope again after months and months of worry. With the emergence of the Delta variant and now Omicron, our resilience has taken a hit. We're fraying around the edges. We're sagging under the weight of renewed risks. We worry about needing to scatter into our own homes again, isolated and feeling fragile. Here's what we need to remember about the rose, though. It's far more than what we see in the bloom. The shrub's roots burrow down deep, holding firm in that frozen ground when those Arctic winds blow. The leaves may get frostbitten, but they don't abandon the flower. Most importantly, the plant knows how to become dormant, saving its energy for what's essential to life. We, too, remain deeply rooted as a community, even as the frost nips at our fingers and noses. We fortify each other during the bleak times and look for beauty wherever we may find it. We may need to slow down and ask each other for patience and grace and forgiveness during those periods when our energies ebb and we have to focus on just the essentials. When we support each other with the gumption that is so often on display in this congregation, I'm confident that we'll also persevere. Amen, Ashe, and blessed be.
Please join me now in reading from your order of service as we extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Blessed be.
Friends, beauty comes in many forms, whether the beautiful strains of music echoing throughout a hall, or the single rose, cold and frosted along the path. We can also find it in ourselves and in our connections to each other. May all of these be nourished in the bleakest times. May their beauty be cherished in all the times. Let us go forth with courage and with kindness and be a blessing to this broken and beautiful world. Amen, and blessed be.
We are so happy to be back.